everyone. Today, once again, we have with us Mr. Anshul, who has converted FMS and other top B school calls. So, in this video, we'll understand how did he clear the personal interview and WAT of various B schools. He's going to share his experiences and will also provide you the preparation tips. So, watch this video till the end and don't forget to hit the like button and do share it with all your friends. So, hi Anshul, welcome back to the session.
Hi sir, and hi everyone.
Yes, Anshul. So, can you tell us how did you prepare for PI-WAT round for various IIMs and top B schools?
So, if I have to talk about interviews, there are 5 broad things that you need to prepare for an interview beforehand. The 5 things can be categorized into HR questions, your graduation syllabus, your work experience if you have any, your GK, which consists of both the current affairs and also the static GK, a bit of static GK, I'll say, and the abstract topics and also the extempore, if a particular B school has extempore or not. So I'll suggest to go well through all these things once completely and then give a few mock interviews, work on making your answers better and improving other things like pace of speaking, tone of your voice, and your posture. Go there confidently and treat it like a very normal and casual interaction. When I talk about improving things like the pace of speaking, tone of voice, I want to give an example to you. Like whenever I used to, I have a habit of speaking in a much faster tone. But whenever I was giving my mock interviews, I was always given the opinion that you should, lower down your pace. So that was one thing that was very helpful for me in my final interviews, which I realized beforehand only. So giving mock interviews is a must thing before you go with the actual interview.
Before we proceed further, just want to inform you that you can prepare for CAT and other MBA entrance exams through my free videos on YouTube and on Unacademy learning app for quantitative aptitude and LRDI. Please check the description of this video to access all the videos of beginners batch and join me live on YouTube. Also, don't forget to join my Telegram group. So Anshul, since you have appeared for many top B school interviews, would you like to share some insights about the diverse experience that you had during the PI process at various B schools, which can be very useful for the future aspirants?
Yes, sir. So I've been through many interviews of many prestigious B schools, and all those interviews are completely different from each one of them. You can never go in an interview with a particular mindset. Whenever you are giving an interview, you cannot judge a interviewer's mindset, like what kind of thinking he or she has. And if, just to give an example, if an interviewer is smiling at you, you cannot judge that if he's actually convinced with your answer or he's just giving a sarcastic smile. So in that case, I'll suggest you to go with a very open mindset. Just have a very calm and composite posture and your mind framework, and try to have it a very casual and a interaction kind of an interview. Don't treat it like a question and answer kind of a round. Treat it like a very casual interview, and that will help you to get a plus points in your interview. So just to give an example of diversity which we face in interviews, I want to mention a particular example of 2 very prestigious B schools and my experience with them, which were IIM Bangalore and IIM Lucknow. When I went for my IIM Bangalore interview, it was a very grinding interview. I just went there and they were just started grinding me over my work experience and how I, took from my graduation as an engineer to being in a software company, and then why I'm choosing MBA. So it was like a fully grinded interview. And if you talk about the other hand, if I talk about like my IIML experience, it was so simple. Like the questions, both of them asked were quite similar, but whenever I'm responding to that question, the response which I'm getting back from the interviewer is so different. Like on the one hand, one interview can just start grinding me over my answers, and on the other hand, if I talk about my IIML interview, those guys were just totally convinced with my answer, and I was feeling like in a very calm and composite manner, in a very comfortable zone at that particular spot. So that are like 2 very diverse situations which I felt in my interview journey.
Right. So learners have to be ready with any situation that they come across. So during your PI at various B schools, I'm sure you must have faced some questions that you are not aware of or you do not have knowledge about. So how did you tackle such situations?
So these kind of situations are quite common in your interviews. There can be many terms and situations where you will not be having a particular like a proper answer to the questions when they are asking you about your graduation or graduation syllabus or like your work experience. At that time, I'll say if there is a question asked to you which consists of a situation or a logical kind of a answer where you can follow a path and try to be as far as close as you can to the proper answer. You should attempt it. That will be appreciated. That effort will be appreciated. But if you have been asked a particular term which you are like completely clueless about, then at that time I'll suggest you to very humbly tell to the interviewer that sir, sorry, I'm not aware of this term, and I'll obviously go through this term after my interview. So that will be a perfect way to handle such situations.
One more thing that I would like to understand from you is, when you came out of the interview room from of a particular B school, were you sure that you have nailed it, or you would always be uncertain about the outcome?
In my experience, I'll say it is always very uncertain. It's like there are very few interviews where you can be utmost sure that you have nailed it, when it's like a very casual interaction going on and you can see that the interviewers are very indulging and they are feeling very satisfied with your answers. But in most other interviews, you cannot be certain about it, because as I mentioned, you cannot judge a interviewer's perspective if he is taking your answer in a positive tone, or he's just smiling at you in a very sarcastic tone. Just to give an example. So when I came out of my interview room, most of the time I was not very certain, but I can say now, when I've got my results, when I've got my results for converting most of the calls, I can say that wherever I was very calm and confident, and I gave the right answers to all the questions which I was asked, to the most of the questions which I was asked, and I had a very calm and composite posture, and we had a very casual and a interactive session, more of a very casual and interactive session between me and the interviewer. At that particular times, I was able to convert the interviews. But where there was a lot of grinding and a lot of disconnects between me and the interviewer, at that particular interviews I was not able to convert, which were mainly Ahmedabad and Bangalore interview.
So once again, Anshul, thanks for sharing all your experiences. I'm sure the future aspirants will find this piece of information very useful, and they'll also be able to convert the calls that you have converted. Learners, please mention in the comments how did you find this video, and we'll be waiting for your replies. Once again, just to quickly tell you, Anshul has agreed to support you for further question and answer. So you can reach out to him through his Instagram page. The link has been provided in the description. In case if you are looking for comprehensive preparation for CAT and other MBA entrance exam, along with mock test, doubt solving and mentoring, you can join Unacademy Plus or Iconic subscription today using my code SHAH10 to get amazing discounts, and then connect with me on Telegram for further guidance.